Hello, my name is Al-Filali Hamadi. I am a high school teacher in L'Ayoun Saqi Hamra Academy. Today I am just carrying on doing review lessons on grammar, especially we are doing today the passive voice. So our lesson today will be about the passive voice, when we use the passive voice, and how to formulate a passive voice sentence. So first, I want you to have a look on this sentence, which is Ali ate the meal. Ali ate the meal. Let's ask a question here. Who ate the meal? So it's Ali. So Ali here is the doer, the performer, or as you want to call it, the subject of this sentence. And we have the verb ate. And let's ask a question here. What did Ali eat? So Ali ate the meal. So the meal here is the object which received the action. So we have Ali ate the meal. So this, we call it an active voice. So this is our active voice sentence. It's an active voice sentence because the doer is active. We know who did the action. So that's the most common sentences that we use are mostly an active voice. So we want now to change this sentence to the passive voice sentence. So the passive voice sentence, we start with the meal. So was eaten. So the meal was eaten. If you notice, we started with the object. And our verb here is formulated of to be and the past participle. So the meal was eaten. If we want to mention the subject, we will say by Ali. So the meal was eaten by Ali. So this is the passive voice, a passive voice sentence. So when do we use the passive voice? So normally we need the passive voice if we want to emphasize the object. So here we start with the meal. So your emphasis is on the meal which received the action of eating. On the other hand, when we were talking about the active voice, the emphasis was on Ali. So here we use the passive voice first when we want to emphasize on the object, or we use the passive voice when we don't know the subject, we don't know the doer. Imagine that we just found the meal eaten, we don't know who ate it. So we say the meal was eaten because we don't know who did the action. In that case, you use the passive voice. It's very useful in your writing, it's very useful in when you speak to people. You need to change your sentences and use various forms, because it won't be boring. So imagine you're writing, he went, he left, he drew, he flew, he did that. So that would be very boring. So you need to change the structure of your sentences. And one way to change the structure is to use the passive voice. So this is the first thing we know about the passive voice. So it always starts with the object plus to be and the past participle. Good. So when we use the passive voice, we need to bear in mind that we have to know or to have a good idea about tenses. So we have to know how to put verbs in tenses, because that's very, very important in the passive voice. So if you want to put the passive voice in the present, for example, as I said, it's formulated of verb to be. So we use the verb to be in the present. If we want to use the passive sentence in the past, verb to be must be in the past. If we want it in the future, verb to be must be in the future. So let's write here some sentences and we will try to formulate the passive voice together. I will write, for example, the teacher explains the lessons twice. So the lesson. We want to put this sentence into the passive voice. So here, as I said, the teacher is the subject, and we have the verb and the object. And here we have the object. What do we need? We need to put the verb to be. In which tense? In the same tense in which was the verb when it was active. So the verb here was in the simple present. So the verb to be should be in the simple present. So we say the lesson is. The lesson is. And the verb should be changed into the third form or the past participle form, which is the verb, the lesson is explained. The lesson is explained twice, means 2 times. By who? In this case, if it's important for you to mention the subject, you say by the teacher. And if the subject is not important to you, it's optional. You can use it or you cannot use it. It doesn't affect the meaning. So here we notice that the verb is in the present, verb to be should be in the simple present and explain. So another sentence. My friend painted a beautiful painting. So my friend painted a beautiful painting. So of course our object is a beautiful painting. So this is our object. So we want to put the sentence in the passive voice. What did I say before? That we use the verb to be. In which tense? In the same tense of the verb. So here the verb is the simple past, verb to be should be in the simple past. So a beautiful painting was, and we keep the verb and the past participle was painted. Teacher, why we kept the same verb here? Here because the simple past, this is a regular verb, and the simple past of regular verb is the same as the past participle. When the verb is irregular, be careful, it changes. So you have to check the list on the back of your books. Let's look at this sentence here. I will send the email tomorrow. I will send the email tomorrow. If we want to change this sentence to the passive voice, we start with the email, it's the object, and we will say will be, the email will be, that's the verb to be in the future, because we have the verb here in the future. The email will be sent. So notice that send, let's change it to sent. That's the past participle form of the verb sent. So the email will be sent tomorrow. So if you want to mention the subject, you say by I. No, that's not correct. So it's by me. So we change this. If we have the subject as a pronoun, we should change it from a subject pronoun to an object pronoun. We say I, it will be by me. You, it will be by you. If we have he, it will be by him. If we have she, by her. It, by it. If we have we, by us. You, by you. And if it's they, by them. That's very important. If you have to as I said before, it's optional, because the doer is not important to our meaning. So let's continue with other tenses. The headmaster has announced the results, the final results. The final results, which is the object. So the final results, if you want to put the sentence in the passive voice, it will be the final results have been. So this is the verb to be in the past, in the present perfect. So here we have has announced. So the final results have been announced by, of course, I said if you want to mention it again, you say by the headmaster, by the headmaster. So if you notice here, we said the headmaster has, and here we say the final results have. So here, because the subject is singular, so singular we say has, I have, you have, he has, she has. But the final results is a plural. So we say have. We cannot say the final results has. We say the final results have. Let's go back here. Imagine if I put here the lessons. The lessons, I make it plural. You should say the lessons are. If I say here beautiful paintings, you should say beautiful paintings were. So it's the object who decides. If the object is plural, you put the verb to be in the singular, in the plural form. If it's singular, you put the verb to be in the singular form. So pay attention to this detail. And we have another example. I will use it, which is we had done our homework nice and easy. So our homework. So our homework. What is our verb here? Is sorry, say had. What is our verb, which is had done? So this is, as I say, it's the past perfect. So we need to put the verb to be in the past perfect, which is had been done. So our homework had been done nice and easy. Of course, I would say nice and easily, but it's a common expression. Okay. So our homework had been done. So if you had a look at these forms, so the first form here, it contains the verb to be plus the past participle. The second form contains the same thing, verb to be in the past plus past participle. The third form, it's the same, verb to be plus past participle. The third form is the same, verb to be plus the past participle. And the third form is the same, the verb to be plus past participle. So this is for the 5 examples. So I want you to have a look on. So let's switch to other examples. I will erase this, and we will write another tenses how to use the verb to, sorry, passive voice. So I will write here another sentence which is we can start the party now. So we can start the party now. So let's look at this sentence. We say that it has a subject. And here we have a modal verb, which is can, and we have the verb and the object. Normally we start with the object. So the party. So when we have a modal verb, of course, modal verbs I'll remind you, which is can, must, may, might, have to, has to, ought to, should, will, would. All these are modal verbs. So when we have them in the sentence, we keep, if we want to switch the sentence to the passive voice, the party can, so that means we keep the same modal verb plus be. So the modal can be, and this verb should be changed to the past participle. So started. So the party can be started now. Of course, I always say, if you want to mention, but here we have a subject pronoun, which is by, it will be by us. By us. So we can start the party can be started by us. So imagine we must start the party, this party must be started. We will start the party will be started. So if you use the model, you keep it the model. So that will be the object plus the model plus be plus verb past participle. So let's have quick examples on that. So the match may end in a few seconds. The match may end in a few seconds. Can you put that in the passive voice? I'll give you a few minutes to think about it, so I'll go back to it. So the policeman may catch him easily. The policeman may catch him easily. So here we have the subject, of course, the modal verb, and here we have he. So if you want to put this to the passive voice, this object, which is a pronoun, it's an object pronoun. If we change it to subject pronoun, that means he, of course, may, say model, be caught easily. So he may be caught easily. So let's, of course, buy the policeman if it's important to you. For me, I always say it's optional. So let's go to ours. Did you find an answer for this? I'm sure that you find it a little bit confusing because you will not put it in the passive voice because it's impossible. Here we have the match may end, but we don't have the object. So some verbs, they don't need the object, so we don't put them in the passive voice. For example, the bird fly. You cannot put it in the passive voice. So now, because of time, I'll do quick revision. I'll write it. As I said, that we have, when we have a subject, the verb, and object, we want to change it to the passive voice. It's the object, and that can be is, or are, when the verb to be, when we want to put it in the present, was or were the past, have, has been as present perfect, had been past perfect, is, are, being. That if we have the verb in the present continuous, was or were, being, if we have the verb in the past continuous. So this is the verb to be plus the verb past participle, of course, by the subject. So if we have subject plus model plus verb plus object, so the model can be can, must, may, will or would, of course can or could, etc. So our sentence should be, for example, the lesson can be written. So plus the verb past participle. So this is a quick summary to the rule of the passive voice. So let me switch quickly to, we will do few examples here quickly before we end the time. So I'll write. The journalist reported the news. So the news, the verb is the simple past. So the news were reported by, of course, the journalist. We are playing chess. So chess, the verb is are playing. So here we have the present continuous. Chess is being. Chess is being played, of course, by us. So this is what I can say about the passive voice quickly, because of the time I could have said more. So we have two main structures here. The first structure is subject verb object. With our sense, the active voice is a verb, subject verb object. We need to use the object, and if you want to continue your answer, put the verb to be in the same tense in which the verb was put when what was active. So present, verb to be present. If it's past, verb to be past. If it's future, the verb to be should be in the future, plus the verb should be switched to the past participle. The second structure is when we have the subject and we have a modal verb in the sentence. So subject, modal plus verb plus object. The object should be followed by the same modal, keep the same modal when it was active, plus the verb to be, because we never conjugate the verb after the modal. So can be, may be, must be, should be, will be, would be, etc. And your verb should be past participle. That's it for now, and thank you very much. I hope we can meet another time.